It's the curtain thing again. Are we surprised? No. Okay, hi. Oh, that's really bright. This is bright outside. All right, so I've been watching the news. That is really bright. What is that about? Maybe that's better. Watching the news, and of course the the that's not funny. The hostage being released from Gaza, and that of course is heartwarming and makes us feel good to see those hostages being released. But then they counter that with us watching. Not everybody sees this. What I just saw was the devastation in Gaza, the destruction in Gaza, which is just this very small little chunk of property, of land, um, and the millions of people who have died because somebody couldn't figure out how to collaborate and negotiate. They just went right to bombing, and that makes me sad, right? So I'm happy, yes, that the Israeli hostages are being released. The Palestinian prisoners should be released. And if it is the end, then there is time. Now is the time for reconstruction, right? Like there should have been, never should have gone this long to begin with, right? Like this should never have gone on this long to begin with. And now there's this place on earth that is completely devastated, that used to house millions of people happily, struggling as it were, living life, doing the things every day, and their lives have been completely overturned. So one bad thing doesn't deserve another bad thing. Like that shouldn't happen. Like something bad happened, agreed. Lots of bad things have happened between Israel and Gaza and Palestine and in that whole region of the world for generations, for centuries, which again brings me to hope, because I'm going to drink some of my smoothie, because hope where I live, because if I turn off my light, is it less? I'm going to sit here. Living in, like where I live in the United States, we have this innate generational, I don't know what I want to say next, but belief in democracy, because we have lived generation after generation after generation with this ability to vote and change our leaders. And so that is so in us, innate in us, intrinsic in us, that we just believe that. Like we do not know war in the United States. I mean, we do, and we're knowing like battles now. Like we do know war in the 21st century, because it's just people, assassinating people, mass murders, people just walking into places with guns and shooting people, which makes me sad too. So even though like I just have so many mixed emotions about the prisoners being the Israeli prisoners being released, of course we're thrilled for them and their families. All right, so what's in Wyoming news? Gonna have to find out, folks. Not much, but let's see. In Gary, Nebraska, remains may belong to Chance Engelbert, a Moorcroft man who vanished in 2019. We probably shouldn't say that out in the news until it's actually been confirmed. Their family is probably getting really excited that they found him. And then it says every missing person deserves to be remembered. I'm going to talk about that to you. Because, so these hostages were released, but I don't know if you can see this. So I've been reading this. I'm about halfway through. And the number of missing children, the number of missing Indigenous women, and are they being held captive like immigrant children, migrants children? Are they being captive? I'm not publicizing that book or anything. I'm just reading it, and it's right. And it's making me think again about these Israeli prisoners being released from Gaza. They're being released by Hamas, and they look like they're in good shape. Hooray, right? Again, hooray. We still have here in the United States missing children, missing people that we don't know where they're at, and they could be being held captive. And so, right, that's why I'm having so many mixed feelings, because I don't know. A Laramie hunter with one leg bagged an antelope. He's going to try and develop a prosthetic rifle rest. The Wyoming Hunger Initiative, which was started by the Governor Gordon's wife, the First Lady of Wyoming. So the Hunger Initiative has officially become an independent nonprofit. That's great. Jeannie, I think is her name. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. And winter's knocking. So storm warnings are in effect across Wyoming. I have to agree. The wind this morning. Look, my hair is cut in remembrance of Diane Keaton. The Wyoming wind, like the wind yesterday was just huge. The interstate between Laramie and Cheyenne and Torrington. No, Cheyenne and Douglas, probably Cheyenne and Torrington too, but Cheyenne and Douglas was shut down, or at least limited to not being able, like high wind vehicles can't go through. They have to sit on the side of the road and wait. So yeah, winter's coming. Let's see. Cheyenne Frontier Days. Okay. In Cheyenne Frontier Days saw fewer service calls, but more arrests. Full data is available on the Cheyenne PD site. And in Gillette, Campbell County continues to publish arrest updates. In Cheyenne, a fatal road rage incident led to second-degree murder charges. These moments call us to reflect on emotional regulation, community response, and restorative frameworks. All right, let's see. The repeal of gun-free zones via House Bill 172 is sparking debate. Yeah, let's go there. Concealed carry is now allowed in most public spaces. For those of us working in informed spaces, this shift matters. Let's keep the conversation grounded in safety and lived experiences. Yeah, you can pretty much walk into anywhere with your gun, but here's the thing. Like Mark Cuban, who owns Maverick, filling stations, gas stations, convenience stores. This is where corporate capitalism can come in handy. Mark Cuban can say, yeah, Wyoming has a law that says you can wear a gun anywhere and you don't have to show it, and that's fine. But Mark Cuban, as a business owner, can say, I'm sorry. He doesn't have to say, I'm sorry. Forget that. Mark Cuban can say, I don't allow guns in my stores, so don't come into my store. We have the right to refuse service to anyone. Thank you, the Supreme Court and the LGBTQ cases, the K cases, right? So as a store owner, as a capitalist, as a merchant, you can say to your people who want to come into your store, leave your gun in your car. You can't bring your gun in here. So that's my vote for corporate capitalism and what it can do to help us with not being able to have guns just anywhere. Like, yeah, it was a trigger for me. I went into a Maverick. That's what made me think of it. I went into a Maverick and a guy was there in a all black leather motorcycle thing and had a gun on his hip and probably one on, who knows where else. I mean, I can make up stories. Had one on his ankle and his elbow and had something under his chin. No, that's all made up. What I saw was a gun on his hip, right? And so that was enough to trigger me. Like, I was like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. Like, no. So store owners can have the right to refuse service to anyone, including someone who walks into their store wearing a gun. That's on the repeal of gun-free zones via House Bill 172. The federal shutdown is ripping through Wyoming, impacting healthcare, insurance access, and food security. If you're navigating these systems, you're not alone. What I found out, and people, okay, if you got furloughed from the government, I'm looking at my hair right now. If you got furloughed from the government for the shutdown, you already know this, but for other people that don't know this, or maybe you should know this because the government probably told you this, you still get paid. But, right, you go to file unemployment claims and you get a portion of what you would have gotten in your paycheck, right? So you're still got money coming in. You have to reduce your expenses, whatever. You still got money coming in. However, if you are a government employee who got furloughed due to the shutdown, any unemployment money that you get while you're on furlough, you have to pay back. So basically, and I'm sorry to say this, you're screwed, right? So say you were making, $2,000 a month prior to the shutdown, and now you're making like a third of that. So what's that, 800? 600, 650. So now you're making 650 a month. And then when you go back to work and start getting your paycheck's going to be short 650 because you're going to have to pay that back. So that's what I know about that. Sheridan football team just hit 50 straight wins. Oh my God, go Sheridan. If I had a little hooray thing, I would put it up there. Star Valley's on a 28 game streak. God, you gotta love Star Valley. These aren't just stats, they're stories of perseverance, mentorship, and belonging. Alexis White and Grant Johnson were named Athletes of the Week. Their dedication is a reminder youth resilience deserves to be celebrated. All right. And then the Wyoming Supreme Court, let's go there, folks, is delaying its ruling on abortion protections. Man, I got stuff to talk about all week. This pause invites deeper reflection on bodily autonomy and legal storytelling. And the Bureau of Land Management is redoing its plan for 3.6 million acres in southwest Wyoming, conservation, development, and 3.6 million acres. Try to imagine that. 3.6 million acres in southwest Wyoming. 3.6 million acres in Wyoming, in southwest Wyoming. Okay, I got to go here too. There are places on the planet that have like 3.6 million people living in 1 acre. Maybe more than 1 acre. No, probably 1 acre. Okay, so I'm going to have AI do an image of that because I think that's so cool. All right, so I'm going to make these into shorts because they're fun. So there's supposed to be something I can do with my live to cut it into shorts, so I'm hoping that I get to experiment with that next. I am going to keep doing this. My name's Al. I'm here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I take Saturdays off as a ritual. Unless, of course, I can't, right? And then I don't. But for the most part, from Friday at sundown till Saturday at sundown, but really till Sunday at sunup, I like cut off from electronics if I can. It's really important. And if you're not doing that, then I recommend you do. My hat's off to Diane Keaton. What a wonderful actress. I kind of cut my hair like hers, but I remember when I first, like a couple times I ever saw her, I thought, I love the way she wore her hair. So and what a very talented actress. And I'm sorry to see that she's not on the planet here with us anymore. Thanks for watching or listening.